Okay, so we've done the Australian newspapers, we've done the UK newspapers. Now let's try the US newspapers and see what they're saying. Kansas accuses Pfizer of misleading public about COVID vaccine in lawsuit. I always take something from today's newspaper, and you can check that. By Brendan Pearson, Reuters. The US state of Kansas on Monday sued Pfizer, because we've got a participle here, accusing, and that's referring to the US state of Kansas who are accusing, and so the US state of Kansas on Monday sued Pfizer, accusing the company of misleading the public about its COVID-19 vaccine by hiding risks while making false claims about its effectiveness. Let's read further. In a lawsuit filed in the District Court of Thomas County, the state said the New York-based drug maker's alleged false statements violated the Kansas Consumer Protection Act. It is seeking unspecified money damages. So the state is taking Pfizer to court. Pfizer made multiple misleading statements to deceive the public about its vaccine at a time when Americans needed the truth, Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach, a Republican, said in a statement. So the Attorney General is obviously a very important lawyer in the state, and this is the state of Kansas. So the lawsuit claims that, beginning shortly after the vaccine's rollout in early 2021, Pfizer concealed evidence that the shot, and a shot is another word for a jab, or an injection, that the shot was linked to pregnancy complications, including miscarriage. Miscarriage is the sad case when a woman who is pregnant loses her baby in some kind of way. So if ever the baby dies before the baby is born, that is called a miscarriage. And so concealed evidence that the shot, the vaccine, was linked to pregnancy complications, including miscarriage, as well as inflammation in and around the heart, known as myocarditis and pericarditis. Okay, now this is another participle, just like accusing, which I mentioned earlier. Accusing was a participle and it was right next to a comma. Known is a participle and it's right next to a comma. And it's describing the complications. The pregnancy complications are known as myocarditis and pericarditis. The representations made by Pfizer about its COVID-19 vaccine have been accurate and science-based, Pfizer said in a statement, participle, adding that it believed the lawsuit had no merit. The US Food and Drug Administration in June 2021 added a warning about myocarditis and pericarditis to the vaccine's label. I seem to remember reading that vaccine label on YouTube, and my video was taken down. I'm not sure why that was. Perhaps it was some kind of mistake. The side effects are rare and most often occur in adolescent boys and young men. A 2023 review of 21 studies by the US National Institute of Health concluded that COVID vaccines were not linked to miscarriage. Kansas also said Pfizer falsely claimed in that its vaccine, which was developed with German partner BioNTech for the original strain of the virus, retained a high effectiveness against mutated variants and that it would prevent not only illness but also transmission. And it's nice and parallel, not only noun but also noun. And they've missed out the also, but it's quite clear. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. So this is a different Attorney General from a different state, not Kansas Attorney General, but Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a similar lawsuit against Pfizer last year, because we've got a non-defining relative clause, which remains pending. Pfizer has also called that case meritless. Kobach said on Monday that other states had been collaborating with Kansas in its investigation and are expected to file lawsuits as well. Interesting. How many other states are going to file a lawsuit against Pfizer for exactly the same reason as Texas and Kansas? That will be interesting to see. BioNTech, the German company, is not a defendant in the case.